Catriona, your conference was about customer engagement. It's all about people, connection, and technology. What is customer engagement?
Yeah, well, this is a great question because we hear these terms, customer engagement, customer experience, customer interaction, but I'm not sure that everyone knows what it means. So my presentation this morning was about unpacking all of those terms. So customer engagement is essentially the psychological, emotional connection that a customer has to an organisation's brand or to an experience they have with the organisation. And it's moderated by the level of effort that a customer has to have in that interaction and the value that they put in that interaction. So it really is about what you think, what you feel, and the value of the relationship.
So what's the customer experience?
Okay, great question. So customer experience is different to customer engagement, and essentially customer experience comes before engagement, or customers are engaged as a result of an experience. So when we look at the model of customer experience, there are 6 key attributes we looked at. One is the price and how the customer perceives the price. 2 is the product and the features it has. 3 is the communication, so the branding, the advertising, the messaging. 4 is the channel through which the customer might use, and we know there are 7 big channels that a customer can interact with: face-to-face, voice, the call center channel; online, social, mobile; correspondence, including email, and video. And then the last 2 components of customer experience are the technology, so how easy is it to interact with an organisation, and the people, how did the organisation's people treat the customer. These 6 components really make up what a customer experiences with organisations.
Now, how does experience and engagement work together? You talk about that, so please tell us.
Yeah, well, essentially, the way it works is organisations have products and services. These are delivered through normally an operating system, that is the people, processes and technology of the organisation, delivered through the multiple channels we've just talked about. A customer has an experience. As a result of the experience, they have a level of engagement, and that engagement will predict how the customer wants to behave in the future. So whether the customer is going to recommend the organisation, which is called Net Promoter Score, whether they're going to be acquired as a customer, whether they'll be retained as a customer, whether they'll renew a product or service. So these core metrics that are very important for CEOs and boards to know about, we now can directly link customer experience and engagement to predicting these metrics.
Do you think it's a different engagement for different industries?
Yeah, this is really interesting. So yes, I do. So there tends to be organisations like the utilities, so utilities being water companies, power companies, who have, or some superannuation companies who have what we call low involvement products or services. So they're ones that customers tend not to feel deeply engaged with. So are you deeply engaged with your electricity company? Maybe not. Are you deeply engaged with your water company? Maybe not. So there are the level of involvement a consumer has in the product or service they are buying typically reflects the level of engagement they have. So for some organisations that's easy. So for Apple, with their iPhone, customers are very engaged and very involved in the purchase, so they tend to have a higher level of engagement with the organisation. The challenge is now for all organisations to get the same level of engagement regardless of what their product and service is. And that's now where we're seeing some of these more traditional companies like the power companies, the water companies, the financial companies, trying to build programs of engagement so that they have the same level of engagement as a customer might have with their iPhone. It's difficult, but they're doing it.
And you talk about co-creation, the customer co-creation. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, so customer co-creation is a really exciting new field. And essentially, we regard, of all the research we've done over the last 20 years, we really see that it's very difficult for organisations to really unlock the true value for customers in using their products and services without the customers being involved in the design of the products and services. So we're really now seeing organisations, clever organisations, inviting customers into their organisation and doing co-creation workshops where we have employees and customers together, sometimes also suppliers, and all of them work together to design the products. And in that way, true value can be created.
And how can you been changing all this industry in these 5 years? 5 years. In the last 5 years, how is it changing?
Yeah. Okay, and I've seen a dramatic change in the last 5 years. So originally we talked about, the main area we talked about when we talk about anything to do with customer experience was call centre. Then the next year it was about contact centre, so contact centre being around 4 channels. Now we see the term multi-channel contact centre or multi-option. So when we think about multi-option, that's actually from the customer's perspective. The customer sees there's multiple options that they can talk through. And then we also talk about this concept of omni-channel. And omni-channel infers that all the ways customers can interact are integrated. So if we think in the last 5 years, I would have been here talking about call centres. Now we're talking about multi-option and omni-channel customer experience. It's been a massive transformation. And this industry has become more and more strategic. More and more are we able to tie customer experience and contact centre to organisations' profit and revenue, and this is fantastic.
What do you see ahead? What is in the future?
Yeah, I think the future is very exciting. So I see the breakdown of traditional models of business and consumers, which are really built on old military models. So if we think that we typically in organisations have chief executive officers, second in charge, head of marketing, and the way we think about our consumers and how we turn them are as segmented, targeted, captive, branded, and given terms and conditions. Well, really, this is how we treat prisoners. This is not how we should treat the people that are most valuable to us. So we'll see all those traditional marketing language and models break down, and we'll see the power move to the consumers. So consumers will own their own profiles, will own their own data, will have vendor relationship management tools. Rather than the vendors managing the customers, it'll be the other way around. And in that sense, there'll be more equal power between consumers and businesses, and it's a very, very exciting time.